Intuitive Entrepreneur Show, where we bring enlightened entrepreneurs, coaches, and influencers together to discuss cutting-edge topics for the world of relationships, culture, business, and spirituality. Here's your host, Max Anjanetta Jones.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Carol's Courage to Confidence segment of the Intuitive Entrepreneur Show. Now, for those of you who haven't been here, you know I'm your weather girl. So when you're chiming in, whether you're on hashtag replay or you're live, make sure and tell me where you're chiming in from and what the weather's like where you are. If I could turn my laptop around, you would see that in normally gorgeous sunny South Florida, and we really do need the rain. We're getting ready to have a storm. So hopefully the electricity will keep going and we'll still be on today. I'm so excited to have our guest today, Miss Sally, is it Gimon?
Gimon.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I was close.
You're good. People mess it up all the time. Don't worry.
Awesome. Sally, tell us where you're chiming in from and what the weather's like where you are.
I am chiming in from Waxhaw, North Carolina, which is about 12 miles from Charlotte, and it is absolutely beautiful here. It's about 70 degrees, no humidity, and I had the door open and the windows open, and I shut them all down so it'd be quiet here.
I'm totally jealous. You know,
the humidity's coming. I know it's going to be here. So,
well, it can kind of take us into a topic. We're going to talk about what you do and how you make an impact in the world. But we're going to talk about some other topics as well. And one of the topics that you just brought to mind for me is how oftentimes we will say we really want to do something and we don't take action. So in this particular area of my life, I'm guilty. Because I have said for many years that I want to live where I have 4 seasons. I mean, we have 4 down here, right? We have summer, more summer, and less summer. But I want to have 4 where I can have a wood-burning fireplace. And I've looked at North Carolina, and I've looked at Nashville and Colorado, and I'm still in Florida, right? So talk to me a little bit about what you do to help your clients when they're sitting in a place of inaction.
I do talk to them because what I deal with is helping people save on federal taxes. I do have a client. He started his trust back in August, and he's only now getting things put together. And he's like, I lost all this. He's a real estate investor and has it's called the BRRRR strategy, where he buys rehabs and things like that. He's lost a lot of money, and we're trying to catch him up because he sat on it for too long. And I'm like, I kept texting him, I kept calling him, sending him emails saying, let's get this started. August and we're at the end of May. We're trying to get things taken care of for him before June 1st.
So what do you think changed that all of a sudden now he's ready?
I think he realized he's doing his 2022 taxes, and he's like, I have to get this. I'll be honest, the trust costs quite a bit of money, but we're going to save him $153,000. And he's just like, I got to get this into action now. So he just sent us the paperwork we've been asking for what, 6 months, 7 months now?
So would you say it's when the important becomes urgent?
It's when the hurt becomes bad enough, if that makes sense. He's just like that. That's when people start working. For me personally, my hurt, how I became a real estate investor, my parents drove from Goodyear, Arizona, which is 20 miles west of Phoenix, to the Charlotte area for a wedding in October of 2018. I flew out. On the way, my mom got sick. She got septic of the blood. She was on a ventilator for 13 months, in a hospital for 18 months. Got better, came home. I can't complain. But I was doing their mail 3 days a week. And in December, her Medicare bill was 27 pages thick. I opened it up. And for 1 month in the hospital on a ventilator, it was $172,000. My dad was retired military. Everything was paid for. But I was working as a Medicare broker, and I had an $8,000 Medicare deductible. And I'm like, I got to change my life. So that's how I became a real estate investor, because not because my mom got sick, but because of what was happening to her. And I'm so glad I changed things. Just to give you an idea, Carol, I got fired from that job. True story. Medicare, the woman's turning 65 during open enrollment. We were doing a special call campaign in Texas for Cigna. I talked to her while she was living in Texas, gave her all the information. She calls me back 3 weeks later during open enrollment, and she says, and she goes, I have a new address. She had moved 4 miles across the border into New Mexico. Ooh. I'm licensed for New Mexico, but Cigna's not in New Mexico. I let my manager know, and he goes, you didn't issue the policy. I'm like, no, but she moved, and she's got to start this. She called me back a week later, started the policy, and I got fired for it. And I'm like, I'm licensed in New Mexico. And because of that, the next day I was wholesaling, I was going to make $6,000 on a wholesale deal. I've never gone back to work in the real, work as an actual employee. I'm my own boss, if that makes sense.
And what compelled you to choose real estate as your vehicle?
The top 100 richest people in the United States has something in their portfolio that's real estate. I had started, don't laugh at me, I had read an article while at the dentist that Arnold Schwarzenegger, the former governor of California, yes, when he came over from Austria, he was a bricklayer, and he started doing tax deeds in California. He has more real estate in California than he makes from his movies and everything. So I started doing tax deeds and making money that way. And I decided I need to up my game and joined my real estate group. And because of that, back in July of 2020, I bought a bank-owned reverse mortgage house in Rocky Mount, North Carolina for $20,000 present day money, not with my Roth IRA or my health savings account that I usually use. And it was going to go to auction for $50,000. I'm going to make $30,000. Yay! But I had 13 months, middle of COVID. So it was July of 2020. It didn't go to auction until August 28th of 2021. And I knew that $30,000, I would have to pay $7,100 in capital gains. And I'm like, I've got time. Let me figure this out. A gentleman in my real estate group, the nationwide real estate group, wrote a book called What the Rockefellers Do. And I went through that book and I started calling people, emailing people, and I found a law firm that it's legal. This trust is patented, and it's in the IRS tax code, and it helps people save on their federal taxes legally with a contract law. So my little house, 3-bedroom, 1-bath house, went to auction, went up to $64,000. So I made $44,000, and I saved over $10,500 in that one capital gains on that one house, and I've never looked back. I now save. I wholesale houses. I have crypto information, and I want to tell as many people about this trust because I just found out it because I was curious, but not to make fun of people, but there's a safety net for the poor people. The rich people know things, and it's the middle class that's getting squeezed in between. And that's why I'm so happy you're having me on your show. Thank you.
No, you're quite welcome. You're quite welcome. So I'm ignorant about this trust, so educate me a little bit.
Excellent. I appreciate that. This trust comes from England, way back when King Henry VIII started the Church of England. He went to go tax the lords and ladies of England. They went even further back to the Magna Carta. It's contract law. It has come from England. It is on the federal level, not on the state level. So it's on the federal level. I don't know if people realize we didn't start paying taxes. IRS didn't start until 1913 when we were in World War I. The law firm I work on behalf of, who have the patent on this trust, has a trust. They inherited it that's turning 350 years old. The Rockefellers have this trust. They have 7 generations, almost 400 people in the trust, and it does 3 things. 97% of the trusts out there are like what my mom and dad had. Just avoid going to probate. This is not your mom and dad's trust. This is going to save you federal taxes. It's going to keep your information private. And then one of the things, it's going to keep you from paying any judgments if you get sued. I've had 7 clients who have been petitioned to be sued, and they just give the first page of the trust, and the lawsuit goes away because they own nothing but control everything.
Fascinating. So this is mainly for real estate investing, or can you do other things in the trust?
There's 2. I break it in half. The business trust is for 1099 income earners. I don't care if you're a salesperson. I've got a gentleman selling cars. I have a gentleman who has a pizzeria. I run 3 businesses through my business trust, and I save 70% on federal taxes legally with this trust. The beneficial trust is going to be for any investor. I don't care if it's a passive investor, real estate investor, crypto miner, Forex, anything. You're going to save capital gains. You're going to save interest income. You're going to save dividend income. You're going to save rental income, and then also royalties. And people don't realize royalties include NFT real estate, NFT crypto, NFT artwork. That's all part of royalties too.
I'm getting an education today.
Thank you. I found out, I went down the rabbit hole, but so many people, 97% of the trusts out there only avoid going through probate. And I talk to people every day who are like, they can save thousands of dollars. One of my clients, true story, he sells Porsches. He makes over $3 million a year in 1099 income. He's going to save thousands of dollars on his federal taxes because he got the business trust. I mean, I do suggest it does cost more than the trust that avoids probate. This trust avoids probate too. But I suggest someone who's making $50,000 in profit, start thinking about it because, with real estate, I've wholesaled 6 houses in 6 upset bids in 2022. That saved me over $66,000 in capital gains doing that. If I didn't have that 13 months, I would never have known about this.
So you are unique in this group of people that come through through Max's group for me to interview. So what inspired you to get into this group?
I believe we connected on podmatch.com, and my goal is to talk to, maybe it's not right for you, Carol, maybe it's not right for somebody else listening to it, but they might know somebody else. This is not taught in high school. This is not taught in college. I talk to CPAs who are like, I've never heard of this before. Just to give you an idea, the IRS tax code, where this makes it legal, is 643B, like Bravo. Mm-hmm. And I've had CPAs like, oh, I have to look that up. And then they call me back like, I've got clients who need this trust, and I don't know why people don't know about it. I really don't. Garrett Gunderson's book, What the Rockefellers Do, changed my life because that's how I became a real estate investor, and then changed my life that now I have the trust and can teach other people how to do this.
So an ideal connection for you for your business would be CPAs anywhere in the country?
CPAs, business brokers. We have a gentleman who's selling a restaurant at the end of the month. 42-year-old restaurant. He's retiring because he got the trust. When long-term capital gains are either 15% or 20% when you sell it, the price of it. He's 69 years old. His wife is 68. They're going to either save $460,000 or $600,000. He says, I don't care. I'm going to save money. His wife is calling me in happy tears going, do you know what that's going to do for our retirement? It's going to change. That's a lot of money. 6 figures. That's a heck of a lot of money. And, I'm working with business brokers. I'm working with CPAs. I'm working with, I just talked to a crypto group on Sunday where they're crypto investors. And they're like, we didn't know about this because with crypto, you're getting, I don't want to make fun of crypto investors, but on January 22nd, 2022, the IRS changed the I'm sorry, I gave you the wrong date. January 22nd, 2023, the IRS changed how to do your 2022 taxes. There was a new question added to say, have you made any money from crypto investing or from NFTs? And if you said yes, it opened up 9 more questions. And if you said no, but did, you could either get taxed $10,000 or get 4 years in jail. People weren't aware of this. I mean, if that's find out you got to get taxed $10,000 because you weren't aware they changed something online. If you start your taxes early, you could have been messed up. And that's why I appreciate you giving me this chance to talk to y'all.
Absolutely. Super, super educational. So as a coach, one of the things I do, right, is I help my clients with their mindset. Mm-hmm. So what is one thing that you have found beneficial to help somebody's mindset when they're like, yeah, that's too good to be true, or no, are you like a person who just presents all the facts and says the facts don't lie? Or do you have, something that you do to help your clients move in, cross that line?
I try to cross that line. I give them examples. I've started my own podcast. It's hilarious. I only use my client's first name, but my clients don't want to appear on my podcast. Like, you can tell my story, but don't use my name. I'll be
on your podcast. I love to be on podcasts.
Oh, but please come. I think it's boring me talking every week about here's a client. Yes, I do have clients. So I give them articles from Forbes, Forbes magazine. It's not just me talking about it. Here's case law, things like this. And whoops, sorry, my computer went out. Sorry, off thing. But I want to make sure people know what they're doing. I'll be honest, it's expensive. Either the business trust or the beneficial trust. One trust is $20,500, one-time deal. It goes from generation to generation. You have an entire team behind you. You have, let's say you start your trust in June of 2023. You're not going to file your taxes until April of 2024. So you get that's a retainer fee to talk to a CPA who knows how to file your 1041 tax return. That's a little bit different than most people. Mm-hmm. And then they'll teach your CPA. You're in Florida, so they'll teach your CPA how to do things too, because people like to be comfortable with what they do. But being a coach, I'm assuming you get paid in 1099 income. Is that correct?
Correct.
I mean, if you could save money, wouldn't you want to save money?
Sure.
Exactly.
Save money. You cracked me up. I had a young man back in 2018. So he's a young genius, right? He had created, at the time, there was nothing on the market like it. It was an all natural, organic pomade for men's hair. There was nothing like it on the market. So this investor and his board invested in this kid, and they had meetings set up with Sephora and Saks and Macy's and all this. And this kid was too afraid to go sell, just afraid. So they come to me and they say, Carol, you've got to take him through your program. I said, well, he can come in. I mean, he gets to choose. You can't make him. So he comes in and we have our session, and he looks at me and says, I don't think I can afford that. And I said, is that the question? And he says, yeah. And I said, perhaps the question is, can you afford not to? They're going to remove you as CEO of your own business.
Yes. So
he leaves, doesn't sign up. Now, there happened to be a cafe down the long hallway in the front of where I had an office. And occasionally, his name was Diego. And occasionally I would see him there. And I would give him a big hug and I'd say, Diego, what else is possible? I teach and train on empowering questions. That's one of the most powerful of all empowering questions. And he would do things like, I don't have a credit card. Now think about it. I didn't say anything about a credit card. I'd see him again, give him a hug. I can't ask my parents for money, right? Not thinking outside the box. My next book is going to be called You Can't Read the Label When You're Inside a Jar. And we're all in a jar. He was stuck in his jar, right? Stuck in his jar. So time goes by. This board member comes back. Carol, will you talk to him one more time? I'm like, no, man. My time's valuable. I've talked to him a lot. I'm a sucker for helping a friend. I said, okay, I'll call him one more time. Never forget, it was a Monday night. And I call him. We have a long conversation. Hang up the phone. 3 nights later, I'm sitting at home after work, having a cocktail. And all of a sudden, my phone blows up. I mean, emails and texts from this kid. You tell whoever's trying to take over my company, blah, 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 blah. I want to come in and see you next week. Give me an appointment time. I thought, holy mackerel, what question did I ask him to elicit this? So he comes in. Why are we telling this story? It's about money. Correct. So he comes in the next week. I give him a hug. And he sits down and I said, before we get started, I get to know how you're going to pay me. And he reaches down and he pats his pocket. And he says, cash. Can I pay you cash twice a month? I'm like, yeah, I love cash, right?
Cash is king.
And I said, tell me, what one thing happened in that conversation to bring about all this change? And he said to me, he said, every time I saw you out in the cafe and you'd say, what else is possible today, Diego? He said, I'd walk away going, that woman is so woo-woo. Right? He said, but that night you told me a story that tied it all together. And I decided I would try what you were trying to get me to do. Now, the thing with empowering questions is you set your intention.
Correct.
You craft the question and then you put it out loud to God. I teach my clients out loud to God in the universe 6 to 8 times a day, and you go right back to what you're doing. The answer's outside of your jar. You're trying to draw it into your awareness. So he just said he would do it. He didn't tell me, but he decided he was going to do it. He said, Carol, I'd go to basketball practice, say my question, go back to work, whatever it was. He goes, all of a sudden, now think about this. He says, all of a sudden, after about 3 days, I realized that all I had to do was get 2 more. Listen to what I'm telling you. I just had to get 2 more people who wanted to learn how to speak and read and write Spanish. He had already been doing it on the side, but he was so stuck in his jar, right? And this opened this door to possibility for him. And so he was excited. I was excited. He stands up. I give him a high five, but you know what I'm thinking? One of my hashtags my clients give me now is hashtag TSW. This shit works, right? I have a t-shirt a client sent me Christmas before last, and it says Carol Boston Coaching, hashtag TSW. She goes, wear that around, and people will start asking you, what does that mean? I said, I can't wear it around. It's too small. But wear it to bed maybe. But, it just goes to show you, you're right. Cash is king, and we get to help people get out of their own way. If I was good at helping myself get out of my own way as I was other people, right? But that's why we all get to have a good coach. We can't see our own stuff.
Exactly.
And so part of your role, right, is to help that person see outside of their stuff that's holding them back and keeping them stuck.
It is true. I hear horror stories. My poster child, he wants to be my poster child. He's a retired preacher from New Hampshire who moved to Arizona. I lived in Arizona for 14 years. On Super Bowl Sunday, 2021, it's the 4th time he went to go door knock on this house in Buckeye, Arizona. It was going to auction March 1st. He caught the grown daughter. Unfortunately, the gentleman had passed away. He caught the grown daughter going back to Los Angeles in about 10 minutes. She had a 1997 Honda Accord. They got her dad's 2020 vehicle, everything else. My friend Kelly wholesales a house for $50,000. He knew about capital gains. I do a mastermind in my real estate group. He knew he was going to pay capital gains. He's like, I'll find another house. 2021, middle of COVID. Doesn't find another house. He had to drive Uber. He's 62 years old. He had to drive Uber 6 nights a week for an entire year because he had a $990 IRS tax bill to pay off the capital gains within a year. He's just like, why didn't I listen to you when you told me about this? And just to give you an idea, Carol, with capital gains, short-term capital gains, $50,000 is $13,900 that you pay the federal government. People think wholesaling is such a great deal, but they don't realize they have to pay so much money, to the IRS. And if I can talk to people, maybe someone's listening to this and like, oh, my brother's a real estate investor, or my sister has crypto, or passive investing. Yes, just get out of our own way. We get stuck. We get in a rut.
That is awesome. We're going to have to wrap up here in just about 3 minutes. So if you will tell everybody the best way to contact you, we're going to be running it across the screen, and tell everybody a short snippet of who your ideal client is. Do they have to have a certain amount of money, that kind of thing?
To reach me, the website is thetrustisyou.com. My podcast is Stop Paying Capital Gains Now. And then short snippet, my perfect client is either a 1099 income earner or an investor in the United States. I do have foreign investors with properties in the United States who are making at least $50,000 and want to save taxes. Set an appointment with me. We'll discuss things. I'm here to help people.
So a 1099, are they grossing $50K a year or netting $50K a year?
I would say at least netting at least $50,000 or more. I tell people, look at your tax return for the year before and see how much you paid in federal taxes. I don't have a crystal ball to tell people, but I tell people, when you start making $50,000, maybe you should start looking at this, because it's irrevocable spendthrift trust. It goes from generation to generation to generation. You pay for it once, and then you save the money over and over again.
That's awesome. Listen, this has been so educational. Thank you so much, Sally. For those of you who are watching live and you're her ideal client, reach out. Today's the day. Seize the day. Take action. For those of you who are watching this on hashtag replay, do the same thing. Remember, this has been Carol's Courage to Confidence segment of the Intuitive Entrepreneur Show, where we say, if you have a little bit of courage, just a little bit, and I know you do, and you hire a good coach like me, we are going to very quickly get you the results that you really want to have. Take care, everybody. Blessings. See you next week.
Bye-bye.
The Intuitive Entrepreneur Show is hosted by Max and Janetta Jones and is brought to you by Life Coaching Today magazine, empowering your health, business, community, and life. This has been a production of True Awesome Life Productions, who asked, what does your true awesome life look like? Start that journey today at trueawesomelife.com. For more information on this or past episodes, go to theintuitiveentrepreneurshow.com.